growing up as a second generation Arab Australian Muslim in the post 9/11 era was challenging for any member of the community. But in particular, when you're a teenager, you begin to internalize a lot of the hatred that is being projected onto you and your community. And for me, I spent so much time as an Arab Australian wishing actually that I was white, that I was Anglo-Australian. I grew up with two names, Michael and Mohammed. And as a Australian from a minority background, you spend a lot of your childhood trying to live strategically between those two identities. So often when somebody would ask me, what's your name? I would actually have to look at them and I would have to ask myself, is it safe to tell them my name is Mohammed? There is a tragedy for me in having grown up in a country where I constantly had to question the idea that I could just tell somebody what my original name was. We often use the term Leb, thinking that it's shorthand for Lebanese. But growing up in the western suburbs of Sydney, I met so many members of my community who were from Iraqi, Palestinian, Iranian, Jordanian, even Indonesian and Turkish backgrounds who all identified as Lebs. I actually really wanted to be an actor. I thought I got my big break when I was 18 years old and I was cast in the third episode of a new TV show on SBS called East West 101, where I played a Lebanese drug dealer named Vinny Mahmoud. And I remember in my self-hating state, getting my whole family together to watch that episode. And I'll never forget what one of my relatives said at the end of watching that episode. He said to me, "You were the lowest piece of shit I'd ever seen on TV." And it was really in that moment that I realized that if I wanted to offer complex and positive stories about my community, I couldn't do that as an actor, that I had to be a writer and I had to be in control of the stories that are spoken about us. Whenever we are being demonized in the media and in political circles, we have to constantly reassure the dominant white Australian culture not to be afraid of us. And I don't have any more patience for that kind of rhetoric. I'm not really interested anymore to have to reassure the dominant white culture that I don't mean them any harm. I'm the director of a literacy movement in Western Sydney called Sweatshop. And the primary goal of Sweatshop is to empower young people from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds through reading, writing, and critical thinking. And whenever I'm working with young people in my community, the number one message that I share with them when we're talking about complex issues concerning race and identity is, firstly, that things will change. Things do actually improve and get better. And secondly, they don't happen on their own. If you want something to change, you have to take the self-determined steps to making the change.